It was a balmy summer evening as my family and I embarked on a road trip through the heartlands of Missouri. The rhythmic hum of the tires on the asphalt provided the soundtrack to our journey, and laughter echoed within the confines of our trusty minivan. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, we decided to take a break at a seemingly ordinary highway rest stop. Nestled amidst rolling hills and vast fields, the rest stop appeared like any other, a haven for weary travelers seeking respite from the endless road. The picnic area, adorned with weathered wooden tables and rusted grills, beckoned us to unwind and savor the simplicity of a roadside meal. The air carried a subtle breeze, and the distant calls of crickets added a rustic symphony to the evening ambience. Little did we know, this mundane pit stop would unravel into a nightmarish odyssey that defied explanation. As we spread our picnic blanket, the children engrossed in their makeshift games, my eyes caught a glimpse of unsettling graffiti etched onto the picnic table. At first glance, it seemed like random scrawls, but upon closer inspection, a chilling realization set in. The graffiti depicted a crude representation of a car crash, accompanied by cryptic symbols that hinted at a tragic event. Unease settled within me, a subtle discord that clashed with the idyllic surroundings. I dismissed it as mere coincidence, the product of an overactive imagination. Little did I know, the tendrils of something sinister had already woven themselves into the fabric of our roadside respite. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the rest stop transformed. The shadows, once benign extensions of objects around us, took on a malevolent life of their own. The laughter of children, once carefree, now seemed to reverberate with an eerie echo that lingered in the air. Curiosity led us to explore the vicinity, hoping to shake off the disquiet that had settled upon our impromptu haven. The restrooms, aged and worn, whispered tales of countless travelers who had paused here in pursuit of momentary relief. It was in the dim glow of flickering fluorescent lights that the first unsettling incident occurred. As I stood at the sink, washing my hands, a reflection in the smudged mirror caught my attention. A fleeting figure, translucent and ephemeral, passed behind me. My heart skipped a beat, and I turned instinctively, expecting to find an explanation for the ghostly apparition. Yet, the restroom stood empty, devoid of any presence beyond the tangible. The unnerving encounter left me on edge, but the night had more in store for my unsuspecting family. We returned to our picnic spot, the children blissfully unaware of the unsettling undercurrents that threaded through the rest stop. The graffiti on the picnic table, once a mere curiosity, now loomed as an ominous precursor to the events that unfolded. As we settled down for a makeshift dinner, the air grew heavy with an indescribable tension. Whispers, carried by the wind, seemed to echo through the fields surrounding the rest stop. I dismissed them as figments of an overactive imagination, the byproduct of an unsettling encounter with the spectral in the restroom. The night wore on, and the moon cast an ethereal glow over the landscape. The children, now yawning and drowsy, nestled into makeshift beds within the minivan. My spouse and I sat on a bench, attempting to unravel the inexplicable occurrences that had tainted our once serene break. The wind, once a gentle caress, became a frenzied whisper that rustled through the leaves of nearby trees. Shadows danced along the edges of our vision, their movements synchronized with an unseen rhythm that eluded comprehension. The rest stop, bathed in the moon's glow, seemed to be caught in the throes of an unholy ballet. The unsettling graffiti, now a glaring reminder of an obscured tragedy, beckoned us to decipher its cryptic message. Symbols that once seemed arbitrary now took on a sinister significance, as if the very air pulsed with the residual energy of a long-forgotten calamity. The night deepened, and the rest stop's solitude became oppressive. An anomalous chill permeated the air, cutting through the summer warmth like a spectral breath. I scanned the surroundings, half expecting to witness another ghostly figure, but the darkness held its secrets close. A distant sound, faint yet unmistakable, reached our ears. The melancholic moan of a distant train, a haunting serenade that seemed to transcend the temporal boundaries of the present moment. The children stirred in their sleep, restless and disturbed by the subtle disquiet that hung in the air. In an attempt to alleviate the growing unease, we decided to pack up and resume our journey. The minivan, once a haven of familial warmth, now felt like a vessel navigating the currents of an otherworldly sea. As the engine roared to life, the rest stop's eerie ballet intensified. The shadows, now animated by a spectral force, seemed to converge upon us as we pulled away. Faces, twisted in silent agony, flashed within the darkness, their ethereal gazes piercing the fabric of our reality. The wind, now a spectral breath, carried with it the wails of a distant lamentation, as if the rest stop itself mourned the tragedy etched into its very essence. The highway, once a refuge from the uncanny stillness of the rest stop, became a winding corridor of uncertainty. The children, now wide awake, gazed out of the windows with a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. The unsettling graffiti, a fading memory in the rearview mirror, served as a stark reminder of the inexplicable horrors that lurked within the mundane facade of the rest stop. As we distanced ourselves from that enigmatic roadside sanctuary, the echoes of the spectral ballet lingered. The moonlit fields, once serene, seemed to ripple with the vestiges of an age-old tragedy. The highway, an asphalt ribbon leading us away, carried with it the weight of an encounter with the supernatural that defied the realms of reason. The rest stop, now a fading silhouette against the night sky, held its secrets close, and the unsettling graffiti remained etched into our memories. The road stretched ahead, winding through the heartlands of Missouri, carrying us away from the spectral dance that had unfolded within the seemingly ordinary confines of a highway rest stop. The night, however, held its secrets, and the memory of that nightmarish interlude would forever linger, haunting the recesses of our collective consciousness. It was a moonless night in the heart of Texas, and the open road stretched before us like an endless ribbon of asphalt. The hum of the engine reverberated through the car, punctuating the otherwise silent landscape. My group of friends and I were on a cross-country adventure, seeking the thrill of the unknown, when our headlights caught a glimpse of something eerie in the distance. As we approached, the silhouette of an old, dilapidated highway carnival emerged from the darkness. Rusty Ferris wheels, creaking roller coasters, and forgotten booths loomed like spectral remnants of a bygone era. Intrigued and fueled by a collective sense of curiosity, we decided to pull over and explore this desolate carnival that time had forgotten. The carnival, once a lively spectacle that resonated with laughter and joy, now stood frozen in a perpetual state of decay. The neon lights, now flickering and dim, cast eerie shadows that danced along the cracked pavement. The air, thick with the scent of rust and nostalgia, hung heavily around us as we stepped into the realm of forgotten amusement. Our first stop was an old carousel, its ornate horses frozen in mid-gallop. The flickering lights above bathed the scene in a surreal glow. As we approached, a distant melody, warped and dissonant, echoed from an unseen source. The once vibrant painted horses now bore the chipped remnants of their former glory. As we circled the carousel, a sense of foreboding settled upon us. Each horse seemed to carry the weight of a tragic tale, a silent witness to the bygone revelry that had once echoed through the carnival. Faded paintings on the carousel's central pillar hinted at joyous riders who had long vanished into the annals of time. The melody, a haunting echo of merriment, seemed to grow louder as if attempting to summon the ghosts of laughter that once reverberated through the air. I could almost imagine the spectral visages of revelers in the flickering shadows, their joyous expressions now replaced by an eerie stillness. Leaving the carousel behind, we ventured deeper into the heart of the carnival. The roller coaster, a skeletal structure against the night sky, groaned with each gust of wind. A rickety Ferris wheel loomed in the distance, its empty gondolas swinging in eerie synchrony with the melancholic breeze. Our attention turned to an old game booth, its facade adorned with faded posters promising prizes and delights. The air inside, thick with the smell of mildew and decay, seemed to whisper the tales of those who had once tested their luck against the rigged games. Abandoned prizes, forgotten and gathering dust, hinted at the passage of countless patrons who had left empty-handed. In the dim light, the plush toys took on a macabre quality. Their stitched smiles seemed to mock the visitors who had failed to win them, as if retaining a memory of the disappointed faces that had walked away from the booth. The unsettling feeling that we were not alone intensified, the silent gaze of forgotten prizes following our every move. Our exploration led us to a ghost train ride, its entrance cloaked in shadows. The once cheerful facade now appeared as a sinister portal to an unknown realm. Reluctantly, we stepped into the rickety cars, their faded paint bearing witness to the countless riders who had ventured into the carnival's dark underbelly. As the ride trundled along the tracks, the scenes that unfolded before us were a grotesque pantomime of the carnival's tragic past. Animatronic figures, their motions jerky and out of sync, enacted twisted versions of once joyous spectacles. A distorted carnival barker, frozen in a perpetual grin, beckoned us forward as if urging us to witness the nightmarish tales that had unfolded within the ride. The scenes became increasingly unsettling, each diorama telling a story of despair and tragedy. A funhouse mirror reflected distorted images of revelers, their joy contorted into grotesque forms. A Ferris wheel, now a skeletal structure, stood as a testament to an untold calamity that had befallen those who once ascended its heights. The ride reached its climax in a chamber bathed in red light. The animatronic figures, now twisted into grotesque caricatures, enacted a final scene of despair. A spectral voice, laden with sorrow, narrated the carnival's tragic history, weaving a tale of joy turned to anguish, of laughter replaced by the echoes of silent suffering. As we stumbled out of the ghost train, the air hung heavy with an oppressive stillness. The desolate carnival, now an open mausoleum of forgotten dreams, seemed to bear witness to the stories we had unwittingly become entangled with. Our final destination was the Ferris wheel, its skeletal frame standing tall against the night sky. We climbed into the rusted gondolas, the creaking sound beneath us an unsettling symphony of neglect. As the wheel ascended, the landscape below unfolded like a ghostly panorama. Each gondola seemed to harbor the whispered secrets of those who once sought solace in the heights of the Ferris wheel. The panoramic view, once a breathtaking spectacle, now held an air of melancholy as we gazed upon the decaying carnival grounds. The Ferris wheel halted at its peak, and the world below fell into an uneasy silence. In that moment, suspended between the heavens and the forgotten carnival, the stories of the past engulfed us. The wind carried with it the echoes of laughter, distorted and forlorn, as if the very fabric of the night mourned the tragedies that had befallen this once vibrant sanctuary of joy. As we descended from the Ferris wheel, a somber realization settled upon us. The desolate carnival, now a graveyard of memories, had woven us into its tragic tapestry. The stories of joy and despair, etched into the decaying rides and forgotten booths, had become a part of our own narrative. With heavy hearts, we retraced our steps to the car, the dilapidated carnival now a specter in our rearview mirror. The moon cast a pallid glow over the deserted grounds, and as we merged back onto the open road, the haunting melodies and whispered tales of the forgotten carnival lingered, a surreal symphony that reverberated through the echoes of the night. Our journey continued, the road unfolding before us like an uncertain path through the vast expanse of Texas. The stories of the haunted carnival, now intertwined with our own, echoed in the recesses of our minds. The moonlit night, once a canvas of possibility, now bore the weight of a disturbing reality that transcended the boundaries of the ordinary. As we drove into the night, leaving the desolate carnival behind, the memories of twisted delights and tragic tales clung to us like shadows. The open road, once a symbol of liberation, now carried the burden of the haunted carnival's history. The friends and I, bound by an otherworldly experience, became unwitting bearers of a narrative that defied explanation, forever haunted by the unsettling truths that lurked within the decaying remnants of a forgotten highway carnival. It was a dark and stormy night in the heart of the Pacific Northwest. The rain relentlessly hammered against the windshield of my car as I navigated the desolate stretches of Highway 101. The wind whispered through the towering pines, creating an eerie symphony that underscored the solitude of the road. As I drove, my eyes fixated on the blurry road ahead, the only illumination coming from the sporadic flashes of lightning that painted the landscape in fleeting shades of silver. The rhythmic patter of rain on the roof provided a hypnotic soundtrack, lulling me into a sense of uneasy tranquility. Suddenly, in the glow of my headlights, I saw a solitary figure standing by the roadside. A hitchhiker, drenched and shivering, with a thumb extended in silent plea. Against my better judgment, I decided to stop. Perhaps it was the empathy stirred by the storm, or the nagging sense of loneliness that seemed to echo in the sound of raindrops against metal. As the hitchhiker slid into the passenger seat, I caught a glimpse of a face hidden beneath a soaked hoodie. A pair of piercing eyes met mine, and a disarming smile formed on lips that seemed to hold secrets. The stranger introduced themselves as Alex, a traveler heading south. Small talk ensued, and at first, Alex's conversation was mundane: weather, destinations, the usual hitchhiker banter. But as the miles passed, the atmosphere inside the car shifted. An unnerving familiarity hung in the air, like a storm brewing on the horizon. Out of the blue, Alex began discussing my deepest fears and most intimate secrets. It was as if they had unwound the threads of my soul, revealing the fears and regrets I had carefully hidden from the world. I felt a chill crawl up my spine as they spoke with an uncanny accuracy that transcended mere coincidence. They spoke of my childhood traumas, my most profound regrets, and even the private nightmares that haunted my sleep. It was as if Alex had become an unwitting confidant to my inner demons. I struggled to comprehend how a stranger, met in the midst of a storm on a desolate highway, could possess such intimate knowledge of my life. As we delved deeper into the night, the rain continued its relentless assault on the car. My initial unease morphed into a gut-wrenching fear as Alex's revelations became more unsettling. It was as if they could peer into the darkest corners of my psyche, extracting secrets I hadn't dared to share even with my closest confidants. My grip on the steering wheel tightened, and I could feel the weight of an unseen presence in the car. Alex's gaze, now an inscrutable void beneath the hoodie, bore into me. The flickering dashboard lights cast their shadows, creating a surreal tableau within the confined space of the car. As the storm intensified outside, so did the psychological tempest within the car. Alex spoke of a looming event, an impending revelation that would shatter the fragile facade of my reality. The hitchhiker's words were cryptic, laced with a sinister anticipation that left me paralyzed with fear. I questioned Alex's motivations, demanding an explanation for this invasive knowledge. They responded with an enigmatic smile, neither confirming nor denying their supernatural insight. The realization dawned on me that I was entangled in something beyond the boundaries of rational understanding. The highway stretched endlessly before us, the rain-slicked road reflecting the fragmented beams of my headlights. The whispers of the storm outside seemed to merge with the unsettling revelations inside the car. Alex's words became a haunting melody, a discordant symphony echoing the fears I dared not acknowledge. As we approached a dilapidated motel on the outskirts of a forgotten town, Alex insisted I pull over. The flickering neon sign above the entrance buzzed with a ghostly glow, casting an eerie ambience that matched the surreal events of the night. Reluctantly, I parked the car, the rain beating a chaotic rhythm on the roof. Alex stepped out into the storm, leaving me with a final, chilling warning. They spoke of an inevitable reckoning, an event that would force me to confront the demons I had long evaded. The door of the motel creaked open as Alex vanished into the night, the hood concealing their identity swallowed by the rain-soaked darkness. I sat alone in the car, the engine idling, the storm outside mirroring the turmoil within. The motel's flickering sign seemed to spell out a foreboding message, and as I peered into the rearview mirror, a face materialized, a phantom reflection of my own fear-stricken expression. The events of the night replayed in my mind, each revelation carving a deeper wound in the fragile fabric of my reality. Haunted by the words of a stranger who seemed to have transcended the bounds of human understanding, I drove back onto the highway, leaving the forgotten town and its ghostly motel behind. The rain persisted, washing away the traces of the unsettling encounter, yet the weight of Alex's revelations lingered like a shadow in the recesses of my consciousness. As the storm receded and the night embraced an uneasy calm, I continued my solitary journey through the Pacific Northwest. The open road, once a symbol of liberation, now stretched before me as an uncertain path into the unknown. The hitchhiker's cryptic warnings echoed in the solitude of the car, and the highway, cloaked in the aftermath of the storm, seemed to conceal secrets that transcended the limits of human comprehension. As I drove into the pre-dawn hours, the rain-slicked highway blurred into a surreal dreamscape. The events of that night remained etched in my memory, an indelible mark that defied rational explanation. The solo drive through the Pacific Northwest became a harrowing odyssey into the realms of the unexplained, leaving me to grapple with the unsettling truth that some mysteries are destined to remain shrouded in the enigmatic tapestry of the night.